Hi, and welcome to Knitting Monologues. I'm Lorianne, and it's just me and my yarn here. And today is Sunday, February the 23rd, and just back from a short vacation. My husband and I got away. We went south, we went down to Florida on the East Coast and rented an absolutely beautiful Airbnb in a town where there just wasn't that much going on, so it was kind of nice because we didn't really have to do anything. My mom and her boyfriend came and stayed with us 2 nights, and then some of my husband's friends were in town and they stayed with us 1 night, and then some other of his friends, childhood friends, so they're all friends, were staying also in the area. So we had a lot of time with people we don't get to see very often, and that was really, really nice. It was also nice to get a break from the cold weather. We had some very, very chilly temperatures while we were away, but I live in Connecticut, it's part of New England. We're supposed to have winter. This is, gotta toughen up, friends. So, what am I wearing? I am wearing the Slava Ukraini sweater, which is a design by Zanete Knits. And one of the things when I first discovered her designs that I noticed was she really took the color work down into the body, well beyond the yoke of the sweater. And that was very appealing for me. Let's see, this was a fundraiser pattern for Ukraine. And it had been out a while, and I don't know, it probably just showed up in my feed, and I had some yarn that worked really well together, but I never planned or intended for it to go together. So they were actually leftovers from 2 other sweaters. So this is a greenish brownish gray color called Kelp. It is the Kent DK from Bare Naked Wools, and this beautiful bright red tomato soup color is from Echoview Fiber Mill. I think it's called their Ranger DK. They no longer produce yarns. I truly discovered them during their going out of business, closing their mill sale. And I love this color. I knit a sweater all in this that ended up being too big and just not properly proportioned for me. And my husband has it. He loves it. It was his first hand knit. And I knit another sweater for me that mainly used this red color. So it just happened that I had the yardage for these 2. And I think it's really striking. This seed stitch, I believe the pattern calls for seed stitch, but I don't believe it calls for you using both colors, which I did. I did make some modifications. I don't remember if it starts with this I-cord. I think it has the seed stitch here. I skipped that as well. And I might have divided for sleeves a little early. I do that sometimes. I don't like the armhole to drop too low. And these bottom motifs, they had a lot of stitches, very long floats. So for each one, I did a duplicate stitch for each of these that go all the way around instead of finishing the full chart. I will do that. Yes, it does make some more ends, but I also just find sometimes those long floats, I don't really have a great way always for getting to them, and I think that duplicate stitch works. I mean, ladder back card is an option as well. In this case, it's not what I used. So it's become a favorite. I love the contrast of these 2 colors, and I just think how dark and moody this brown is with the brightness of the red. It works. All right, I am coming to you with nothing finished, but a ton of works in progress. I cast on so many sweaters a couple weeks ago. I guess I just had a burst of need to get these sweaters done type of thing. So even though this year I really am paring back how many sweaters are on my list, right now I'm still in the I want to knit sweater stage. One of those sweaters, which I showed on my last episode, the Journey cardigan, I don't have any further updates on, and is actually with my friend Angel, who is helping take out her sewing machine and reinforce the steek panels before I cut my sleeve tube open. So I don't have that to show you, but I do have several others. So let's start with this one, which has really gotten most of my attention. I'm just gonna do one camera thing. There we go. Now I can see my time. So this was the primary knit that I took with me on our trip. And this is a sweater for my husband, Todd. It's a raglan. You can see that line. Folded collar, top down. Let's see, it took me an hour to sew, but it has a tubular bind off sweater, and it fits him great so far. Obviously have to do the sleeves. The yarn I am using is something he absolutely fell in love with when he saw it and said, that's gotta be my next sweater. It's by Dying Wishes Yarn Co. It is in the Spectral Superwash DK, 246 yards to 100 grams. The color is called the Vision. And I special ordered this yarn because we needed sweaters quantity. I think I had 8 skeins. I don't know if I'm missing one, which is entirely possible. So far I've used about 4 skeins to get through the body. This is, I think it's the 5th size. Let me take a look at my notes here. It's called the Hanstholm sweater. It is by PetiteKnit. And I'm knitting the 3. I'm knitting the size 3, which I think is around a 43 or so, 42. That's his kind of, I have his magic numbers in my phone. I use my notes app in my phone to just keep all kinds of notes. That way I always have it with me. I keep my grocery list, that's a shared list. So what's left is to do to just knit the sleeves. I have blocked it. I blocked it mid-project when I got just below the divide, just to kind of see how is the yoke doing. The neck opened up a lot. I am not gonna lie, he probably will want this neck cinched in a bit. It was a bit of a risk for me to knit it at the start because usually I end up having to kind of snug them in and tighten them up. So we'll see, maybe I'll have to get some elastic thread or maybe it will be okay. The body, I knit this to 12 inches before doing the ribbing. It blocked to 16. For those of you who know me, superwash is not my thing, which is going to be a little ironic because pretty much definitely 3 of the 4 projects I'm going to show you today are all in superwash yarns. So superwash not my favorite thing, but my husband is one of my favorite things. So next I took a pause, thought I should record an episode, and I will pick up the sleeves, knit them 2 at a time, magic loop, and I have to see where the decreases are because I'm not going to knit them as long because they'll obviously stretch. Now I did do a full wet blocking on this one, and as I show you some other sweaters, I won't be doing that. Yeah, it just changes so much. I don't understand, like even knitting a gauge swatch, which I knit a decent sized gauge swatch for this, and it grew it didn't grow that much, you know, the swatch wasn't that big, so I find it hard to translate how much something's going to grow, which is why I do a lot of mid-project blocking. I did knit this yarn helically using, you know, alternating a couple of balls because of some of the variances in the color, and we didn't want any pooling. I'm hoping I can get away with just 1 ball each for each sleeve. So he's very excited. I would like to try to focus on this one as I have because I'm sure he's going to want to wear it, which he has plenty of time. I mean, winter's not over, and this is a DK weight. He can wear it for quite a while still. And I know he will because this is his favorite color. Always. So I have plenty of this yarn left because this is about 4 skeins. I should have 4 more. I think I can only find 3. 1, 2. Oh, maybe I have. Yeah, maybe I do have 4 now that I think about it. Left. All right, pretty good. Maybe I didn't lose one. Next up, this is a pattern I have been swooning over since she published it, and for me, it was really a matter of finding the right yarn. I had bought other yarn for this sweater, and it was designed in Mayak Medium, which is, I believe, next to Skin Soft. And I've never knit with it, but have been interested in it. Almost got some on sale, and then the colors that were left once I jumped on the sale weren't the ones I was looking for. At the same event that Todd fell in love with that green yarn, I fell in love with this by Seven Sisters Arts. It's the Zodiac DK. Zodiac, it's worsted. It is an 80-10-10, I believe. Let's see. Yep, 80, 10, 10, 10 cashmere, 10 merino, 80 merino, 10 cashmere, 10 nylon. She calls this rock olive, and it is, oh, I love this color. It is gray, green, brown. I don't know, it's everything. The pattern I'm knitting it up into, I have 5 skeins of this. This was also a sort of a special order. I had to request that she dye the yarn for me, but she ran a sale. I found this in November, and she did not have enough in stock the last day of the festival where I found it at Fiber Festival of New England. She did not have enough in the same dye lot, and so I happened to catch a sale in December and said, all right, I'm just going to place the order, and it got dyed and shipped, and it's just a dream to work with. Worsted weight. It's the only worsted weight sweater, actually, that I'm working with. This is the Solare. There we go. That is pretty good depiction of the color, actually. So it's a pattern by Locatelli. And as you can see, cables, top down, yoke, sweater, short rows in the back in the ribbing here. So the back rib, that's a little piece of the cast on. The back rib is longer than the front rib. I think there might be a short row under this. It is only, this cabling ends, it's just the yoke, and then it's in the round. All of these sweaters are, I'm hoping to get through the yokes and then really buzz through any circular bodies, arms. I am not gonna wet block this. I'm scared it's gonna grow like crazy. And I didn't wet block my swatch. I will probably only pin it to the dimensions and skim it. But love, 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 love. I want another sweater. I want like 3 more sweaters in this. I could see it with like a peachy pink color here. Oh, I could see with an orangey color. I could see with so many things. Okay. Next is Obsidian, which is a colorwork yoke sweater, which this one is really the least far along. The pattern is by Tania Barley, the wool, I believe the wool barrow, and it has a long colorwork motif. So this is only about halfway. Lots of options in the body for this body shaping, either A-line or straight. I will do straight. And the sleeve can bell out, or maybe it's bishop, I'm not sure, or be straight. I will probably do straightish. What I was so excited about with this was you pairing these yarns. So I found this yarn actually at Fiber Festival New England. I've never used Aisling yarns. They have a lot of British, I think, wools and small American farm yarns is what they say, or American small farm yarns. This was the 2024 locally grown and custom spun non-superwash Wensleydale DK. So that's my contrast color. It's natural. This is my main color. And this is from Spun Right Round. This is some yarn I bought on sale. It's the colorway Oatmeal Domestic DK, and it's in 50-gram put-ups. I bought this because it was on sale and I knew I'd want to use it. It's beautiful. I guess it did not work for Spun Right Round because they discontinued it, sold it for like a fire sale. I don't know how else to say it. Really, I have one other sweater in, maybe I have it in the fingering. No, I have 2. I have 2 other sweaters, one in fingering and maybe one in blue DK, and another in like that uses pink and some greens. So it's non-superwash. It's I think it just says American wool, but let me see. Merino, 70 Merino, 30% Columbia. So this is my non-superwash knit right now. The collar looks very wide, and that is because the pattern has you do the collar afterwards. It does have a short row. You raise the neck and the back, a feature I usually prefer. Plugging away with that, I have, I think, one more round that has increases and quite a few, probably 25 more rounds of the color work. So that has further to go. This one, I have 2 more repeats with these large V cables, and that will pretty much finish the yoke. So that's my 3rd sweater though. And my 4th is this gorgeousness, if I say so myself. This is called Springfling, and gosh, doesn't it just look like a burst of spring? This might be the back I'm showing you. No, I think the back is, kind of half, let's see. Yeah, that's the back. Here's the front. How do I know? You really wouldn't know because it's actually knit equally, but like I said, I really prefer to raise the back of my sweaters, and I added short rows. So I'll talk about that in a second. The yarns first though is this blue is from Louise Robert collection. It is DK Pure, 90 Merino, 10 Silk. It is a sport weight design, but I'm using probably more DK weight yarns. This is the DK Pure is the name of the base. And this is the colorway Loch, or Loch at Loch, L-O-C-H. I used this Suri stranded with a fingering superwash for the pink, which the pink is by Gesa and Flow of Zitron. And this fluff is by Back Loop Yarn Co. Which she's back loop yarn and fiber now. This is their Suri base. This color is called Strawberry Lip Gloss. I had it left over from another sweater, and after struggling trying to use color changing yarn for where the pink is, I gave up and I just was like, I'm just gonna use something else because this blue is so fabulous. Now I did use, you could see here, this row of flowers is a little different, the 3rd row. And I did use some color changing yarn here for it instead. I just had to get some in. I think it adds a little bit of interest. What's left of this sweater is just straight stockinette on the body here. And it's gonna be all of this blue. I'm thinking maybe I will do this seed stitch. I have still to decide if it'll be long sleeves. I have the yardage for long sleeves. My intention was long sleeves. I kind of feel like with this fluff and the thickness of the yoke, it's not going to be a warm weather sweater, so why make it short sleeves? I should make it long. I had a lot of fun. This was hard to put down, knitting this yoke. I will say though, because there are no short rows, I know I prefer them, and I sort of put it aside after I finished the yoke, and I was like, I need to add them before I divide for sleeves, which is another place you can put them. You can put them on the back neck, like back of your neck. You can put them under color work, which is pretty common when you have color work, so that your motif in the back looks, the front and back length of coming up to your collar looks the same. It's easy to hide too, but some designers put it underneath, so that's what I did. Let's see, I knew where to place it. I wasn't sure how many stitches to go with each pass of the short rows, and I did a double stitch German short rows. And I found the YouTube channel of the Unapologetic Knitter. I think her name's Megan. She is a tech editor, and I wouldn't say my mind was blown, but I was like, she basically heard me ask the question and had already recorded a video telling me how to do this. So I basically used her formula, which because her video is free, I'm just gonna share. I basically started use it with 60% of the stitches and then gradually worked my way down to 30% of the stitches. I think I did about 8 passes of rows, and figured out how many stitches would be 60% of my total, how many would be 30%, and then just kept chopping that up. I basically decreased by 12 stitches on either side each time. I think I ended up doing 10 rounds, 5 sets of passes. And I got a little over probably an extra inch, which is fine. It's great. Now this blue yarn, it definitely variegates. That's just within the same skein, more or less, I think. I did start my second skein, but I'm not gonna helically knit it. It's fine. It's gonna, this was all one skein in the body here. It just has some variation in the color. And I think it's so pretty. I'm hoping I have some left over because I would like to use it with the color changing yarn I originally bought it for, but in an accessory. That's all the sweaters I have going on right now. So I do have one other work in progress. I do have an accessory. My goal this year is to not knit more than sweaters. And I will, for sure, because I have accessories on my list to my knit list, which I create basically like a make, I don't know, 20 or so each year, make 25, and I really work off from that list. So this is knit in Clinton Hill Cashmere Bespoke DK. It's my first time using this yarn. I've been collecting Clinton Hill somehow. And this is the Escher's Dream Scarf. It is a houndstooth. Can you see this right here? That's a mistake. Yep. That should be sitting behind. It's mosaic knit, and this should have been carried behind. So I will have a decision to make of what to do. It's a fairly long-ish strand. It's, I don't know, it's probably like 3 stitches long. I could snip it, cut it, get it in the back, and add it, like connect it to some yarn and just weave it in. And probably what I will do for now, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm using that olive green and the light pink, and it has this, makes this very nice striped I-cord edging on both sides. I have gotten through the increases, and now it's just straight knitting of the motif. I want to say like 60 plus times. I'm not totally sure. Haven't picked this up in a week or two. I have been bringing this to school where I work and working a repeat each like lunch break. So I probably can keep doing that. This marker is just telling me where my last pattern repeat was for increasing, in case I have to count them. So I should take this on my trip, and I didn't do anything with it while I was traveling. I just got motivated to really try to work on the sweater for my husband, because I know he'd really like to have it. Okay, that is everything that I have that's in progress. I do feel like I'd really like to just get all of these sweaters, like I said, to that place where I'm knitting either sleeves 2 at a time or body in the round, and I'm there on 2, and I'm getting there on the other 2. Okay, couple of acquisitions. So Aimee, yarn dyer out of Paris, who makes gorgeous yarns, and I think some of her colors are very, they're kind of signature to her. I want to say it was last January or so, around then, January of 2024, maybe December, she launched a hand-dyed black and a hand-dyed white. And I, at Vogue Knitting Live 2024, purchased some and knit a cardigan, a Hohi Locatelli design called the Milton cardigan. And love it. It's black, very useful. I have knit a few cardigans of Hohi's designs. And Aimee had a warehouse sale, and included in that was her Noir, the black color, and Blanc, the white color. And it was really kind of hard to pass up because it was so discounted. It was worth paying for shipping to the US, which is usually pretty pricey and prohibitive, that I went and purchased 6 skeins of the Wensley worsted in noir, the black color. Now it's 250 yards, so I have 1,500 yarns, 50% Falkland Corriedale, 25% Falkland Merino, and 25% Wensley down. I have never used this base, so I'm excited to. I am not going to queue this up anytime soon, if at all be next fall of this, or November, December. It's going to, my husband said he didn't want it, so great, because I probably have the yardage for him. I would like to make myself a black cabled cardigan. Yes, you heard it here. I'm going to knit myself a black, not cardigan, a black cabled pullover. Worsted, it will be fine. Remind me I said that. This is, it's a little toothy, but it's a natural wool and a beautiful black, and you don't really need hand-dyed black yarn, but it was such a good price, it was worth getting. So happy to have it. This is kind of an acquisition and kind of a dump. My mom taught me to knit. Not gonna lie, my mom taught me to knit. My grandmother taught me to knit, but my mom got me started. And I now knit much more than she does. And she would like to be a knitter again, but she doesn't always pick things that she can follow through with. So one of those things that she chose is called the Autumn Fusion Shawl. It is by Swing Knits, called Yarn in Motion, I guess. And I'm going to look it up because I want to show you a picture of what it looks like. Autumn Fusion. Okay. I think this is a better picture. This one is in German, but it's the same design. So there you go. It has all of these. It uses short rows and is knit tip to tip, and uses a color changing yarn if you'd like. So my mom fell in love with this at a store somewhere. Bought a ball of Schoppel-Wolle. She's totally like a blues and greens person. Bought a skein of I don't know what else because she doesn't have the ball band. And this is probably how far she's gotten. Well, this is definitely how far she's gotten maximum. She's probably stopped and started a few times. Now you can see she's cutting her yarn. And because I saw her this last week, she said, I know you're going to make me a shawl. I really would just like it if you'd finish this one. In addition, this is not something I would choose to knit. Not because it's not beautiful. First of all, I'd never want to cut my yarn. When I pick this up and try and do it for her, I will try to carry the yarn with me. She just wasn't getting the German short rows. It's a printed pattern. I have not printed a pattern out and worked from a printed pattern in 5 or more years. I have binders full of them, but I kind of said to myself, what am I doing? This isn't good for the environment. I would have them in plastic sleeves. I'm not using not using much plastic. 16 pages. It's a fully written pattern. So we'll see. We'll see how far I can get with this, but I'm gonna work on this. I will try to work on this for her. She gave me whatever the needle is she was using. Not sure. She even gave me a pencil she's using to check off where in the pattern she is. So I'm gonna give it a try, but we'll see what happens. I am going to finish a few other things, and the shawl that I had the yarn to knit my mother a shawl. She requested a shawl in neutral colors this year. That will get back burnered until this. So my thoughts are in order to put a little more discipline around my sweater knitting, because I think I need some discipline. Once I get past these 4, 5, because the journey, which I really mostly knit in January, I'm going to go to monogamous sweater knitting, which means all the other stuff in addition, fine, one sweater at a time, and see how I do. Of course, I'm not even close to that right now. All right, couple of quick thoughts on some books. I have been reading, so I got this book, Onyx Storm. It's by Rebecca Yarros. It's the 3rd of 5 of the Empyrean, I think it's called. I could be wrong. Series, 4th Wing, Iron Flame, Onyx Storm. And I enjoyed reading it, got to the end, read it. It was a good read for me. Really, I did enjoy it. Then I read a review of it, and I thought, I agree with everything in this review. If you've enjoyed the books, great. Can you start in the middle? Probably. This book really, this particular installment, book 3, really takes you kind of outside of most of the context of what happened in books 1 and 2. A lot of new and different characters are introduced, different geography, still the same style of writing, many of the same key characters. But if you didn't read 1 or 2, you could probably start with this. But I enjoyed it. I'm glad I read it. But it didn't really, in the end, move the storyline forward. I don't think I'm giving anything away by saying that. It didn't do much to move the storyline forward because that's what was in this review. So I'm glad I have it. I wanted to show it to you. I will probably donate it. The staff room at the school where I work has a shelf of books that you can just donate. It's really lovely, so I will probably bring this one in and give it away. We also have a library, a large library, and as staff we can borrow any books from the library from there as we would like to. And they have like due dates of the end of the school year, so it's pretty good. I've also been trying to read this, which is Still Life by Sarah Winman. It was recommended to me when I asked for a bunch of recommendations. I've gotten over 200 pages in, and I just can't go any further. I wish I could. I think the artwork's beautiful. I think the characters are okay. I just feel like the story is just very slowly paced, and for me, I need a little more action. I need it going somewhere. So if you've read this, and if you want to tell me that it gets better and try to convince me that I should stick with it, do so. I'd love to know. But I feel like usually I give a book 100 pages. 200 is halfway through. I think it's like a 400. Yeah, I've gotten halfway through. It's a 450 page book, and I've gotten at least halfway. So, let me know about that. And I think that's everything. Yeah, I guess I'll share this now. I'm going to Maryland Sheep and Wool. That is the first weekend in May. Some local friends and I will be driving down Friday to Saturday, going to the festival on Saturday. First time, Maryland newbie here. Starting to think about what I might want to purchase while I'm there, but have been really true to my current list, and I have materials for pretty much everything I'm planning to knit this year. So it's less of a purchasing trip, more of an experience trip. We have not decided if we want to try to go to Yarn Centric. Kind of feel like if we're in the area, which is an adjacent, fair event that happens the Friday. So we haven't really made our plans other than I am the driver. We have housing. We have a hotel for the night. So I'm so excited about that, and I'm sure I'll talk more about it as I get closer to figuring out what I'm excited to see. I did see that Feeder Brook Farm has put out some chunky weight and like entropy chunky, which millens, and I know they're saving some for that, and that really piqued my curiosity. I don't really have a plan for something like that, but we'll see. And absolutely, although some yarn might go on sale sooner, my friend Jenny, running her Wool Co., has been getting her last shearing that's been now spun into wool by Green Mountain Spinnery. She's been getting that back, and oh, it just looks, she's 3 colors so far, it just looks absolutely divine. I'm very keen to see what the yarn from Jane, her sheep Jane, came out looking like. So we'll see, but it's definitely something we're looking forward to. All right, take care, and I will see you soon. If you are not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing. It was good to catch up, and I'll see you soon.